Hey guys, it's Masatonic. I'm bilingual Harukist. 皆さん、こんにちは。バイリンガルハルキストのマサトニックです。Haruki Murakami, book guide short story 49, Scheherazade. So, in this video, I'd like to talk about Murakami's interesting story, Scheherazade. If you are familiar with the name Scheherazade, you might remind of this name remind of you the 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights. But of course, it's not directly connected to Arabian Night, or it's not bad. We could say, or I could say, this is a Murakami version of Arabian Night. So let's get started. As always, this video consists of 3 parts. First, overview, second, story, and third, deep reading or reading tips from me. So first, overview. This short story is contained in short story collection, Men Without Women, and it's published 2017, May. And like I mentioned, it's not directly connected to 1001 Nights. It's only the name is mentioned, a Scheherazade. And actually, it's mentioned in this story. Murakami mentioned 1001 Nights, but it's not directly connected to this Arabian Nights story, but it's a really interesting one. So what kind of story is this? Story. In this story, there's basically just 2 characters appeared. First character is Habara. He's a kind of narrator, and the main character is a woman who visit him, his house, and then their situation is a little bit tricky, and it's not detailed. It's not described in detail. But Habara, her is lived kind of sheltered life. He lived some apartment and near a Kanto suburb in Japan, but he lived in some house, but it's not usually how to say a residence, but some kind of sheltered life. The reason why he lived the sheltered life is not revealed in this book, so it's kind of mysterious setting. And some woman visited that house to support him, basically for purchasing a grocery and cooking and etc. And then that woman is called by Habara Scheherazade, but Habara not directly called her Scheherazade. Only in his diary he mentioned a woman as a Scheherazade, because she's very good at telling a story. So, and then like 1001 Nights, this story is some kind of like Matryoshka type story in story, something like that. So basically, this woman told Habara some story, and that story is main story of this short story, Scheherazade. And one episode or story of which she told Habara is about her former life. And it's a small episode, but she said her former life is I forget that this one, a lamprey. She used to be a lamprey. And she told Habara what kind of feeling as a lamprey and staring at the waterfront. This is the first episode, and the second episode, and basically main episode is story about her Scheherazade's high school days. When she was in high school, a student, she had fell in love with some classmate guy who do a football club activity, and that kind of, how to say, a falling love story in high school days itself. Of course, it's not unusual. It's very much in common in the high school kids, but some she unusual way she how to say did her activity as a how to say as a girl. Actually, she just hesitated to I would say directly communicate with him, but instead she visited his house when he and his family, all his family was out, especially from the daytime. Of course, he just went to high school, and instead she absent from high school, and his mother going out for shopping or something. She just how to say she just entered into his house because she could find his house key in front of the entrance. That is a very easy way, and sneaking into his house, and she did some very unusual things. What she did is kind of very unusual things. So please take a look at take this book and please take a look at what she did in the story if you're not reading it yet. So it's a kind of interesting way. And then finally ended up she had to quit her activity with some due to some reason, and that's her story. And then Habara, and she told her story, this high school day story, and basically that's it. That's a whole story of the Scheherazade. That's kind of interesting one and short story. So the setting itself is quite unusual. Habara is for some unknown reason sheltered life he lived, and the woman visited him, and she told her story about former life and about high school days, and that's it. This is a story of Scheherazade by Murakami. So how should we enjoy it? A deep reading. So first, let's read 1001 Nights. Have you ever read 1001 Nights or Arabian Night? It's very long story. Of course, some episode is very famous, like Aladdin or like Shindbad. But I think not so many people, especially some, how to say, not Islamic world, leads through the whole story of 1001 Nights. I'm not sure, but perhaps in English, but kind of complete version is published. And in Japan, it's Japanese version is also published, but it's very huge. From my understanding, it's over 10 volumes they got. So it's long as Murakami's longest novel. It's like her Proust a search for a searching for lost time. I forget the title, but anyway, Proust. It's like Proust was a long novel. It's longer than Dostoevsky or Tolstoy. So but when I tried some volume, it's really interesting. So if I'd like to read through every episode someday, but it's a good opportunity to I'd say read, start to read this very much interesting story. So, and then also speaking of 1001 Nights, it's not only mentioned in this book Scheherazade, but Murakami's other famous novel, Kafka on the Shore. In the novel, the protagonist, Mr. Kafka, Kafka Tamura, reads the 1001 Nights at some library. So, and then he's really absorbed in this book because he thought this is quite interesting. Like maybe ex Murakami's how to say teenage days, I guess. So first one is let's read 1001 Nights, and suggestion two, watching Lamprey. This is a Scheherazade's former life. So Lamprey, have you ever heard of that? In Japanese original text or Japanese way, it's called a Yatsume Unagi. Yatsume means eight. No, it's eight. eight eyes means yatsume. Yatsu is a eight in Japanese web description. Yatsu. And so it's like, how to say, when you Google it, you can find on the image a search, but it's kind of creepy. It's very hard to say. It's a very beautiful creature, but it's kind of very creepy appearances. So you could find why this creature called eight eyes in Japan. You could find, but it's really interesting. Some woman believes her former life was lamprey. It is quite unusual things, I guess. But when you Google it and you with imagining what a lamprey is and reading this book, this story is quite much more, how to say, deeply. You can enjoy this Scheherazade story, right? And it's the third one. Let's imagine the story about 4 years later high school memory. At the ending of Scheherazade's second story, she mentioned about kind of after story of her high school memory. 4 years later, after her graduation, she reunion with that boy, and that encountering is featured with her mother herself, and also there's some kind of a ghost story. So that kind of very, how to say, interesting was she mentioned. So, but she never told before telling her story. This story, she had the story has ended like Arabian, like 1,001 Nights. So reader can't tell what kind of story that the 4 years later story is. So let's imagine, or let's make this story by yourself. It's kind of very, how to say, you can more deeply enjoy this Scheherazade story. You can be a Scheherazade by yourself. So this is my suggestion. Did you enjoy it? Thank you for watching. This is the introduction of Murakami's Scheherazade story. So I hope this video make you want to read or make you want to read again. Okay, thank you. So like this, I posted Murakami's book guide. So if you like it, please give me a good rate, and I would appreciate if you subscribe my channel. So let's see you next video. Until then, see you. Bye.